The new AirPods Pro 2 with USB-C and MagSafe. They're just the same AirPods Pro we had before, but with a different charging port, right? No, that's not exactly the right take. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Caleb Dennison, and today I want to take you through what I've managed to learn about the new AirPods Pro 2 with USB-C, and there is plenty to talk about here. It is not just about the new USB-C charging port and what comes with that. This latest version of the AirPods Pro 2 have as yet untapped potential that points to a pretty exciting future. So we're gonna get into that. But I also wanna use this review as an opportunity to talk about new features that are unlocked with iOS 17 and, as it happens, are also available on the AirPods Pro 2 with Lightning case that you may already own. And ultimately, let's see if I can help you decide if you should run out and buy the new USB-C version or if you're good sticking with the AirPods Pro you already own. Speaking of things you can own, did you know that not only can you absolutely own the like and subscribe buttons, but that notification bell is well within reach of your ownage too? Hey, thanks for supporting this channel. I appreciate it on a level that is hard to adequately convey. Okay, so let's kick things off with a real quick unboxing, shall we? When you pop open the box and unwrap the new USB-C AirPods Pro, you will, of course, notice the USB-C port. But I was also pleased to see that not only was a USB-C to USB-C cable included, but it is cloth covered. Now, clown me if you want, but folks, I am really into the cloth covered cables these days, and I was legit delighted when I made this discovery. And my 14-year-old daughter noticed it too, and she dug it as well, so I know I'm not the only one who thinks this is neat. I'm bringing my daughter into this because she made some other observations that I want to share here, so more on that in a moment. Oh, and by the way, the USB-C cable that comes with the new iPhone 15s, same thing, cloth covered, love it. Anyway, back to the USB-C bit. I'm gonna editorialize a little bit here because I've heard plenty of haters clowning the USB-C development, be it on the AirPods Pro or the new iPhone 15 or back when the new iPad started featuring it. And I mean, yeah, it would have been nice to have this years ago, no doubt. One can even argue that it would have been the environmentally responsible thing to do. And it's likely Apple would not have done it had it not been nudged firmly by the EU. But I mean, if you're trying to absolutely rake in the dough, which Apple is and has been doing for some time, you do stuff like having a proprietary cable. Not saying I love it, but let's not act like it was a stupid move. But you know what? Those days are in the rear view mirror now. Apple is clearly transitioning to USB-C, and in the case of the new AirPods Pro 2, literally in the case, this means you can move toward tossing your Lightning cables into that drawer or bin with all the other cables you can't bring yourself to throw out because you might need it one day, but really, you may never touch it again, and it's just taking up space. Don't act like you don't have that drawer or bin or massive box. You know you do. I'm not shaming, I'm just saying. Anyway, you can now charge your AirPods with your iPhone 15 or Mac using your new USB-C to USB-C cloth-covered cable, which might come in especially handy when you're about to take a flight and your AirPods need to charge. Just charge them off your phone, and then you can worry about charging your phone on the seatback charger. Now, I was curious if you could also charge the AirPods Pro 2 with Lightning case using an iPhone 15. So I tried it. And I can confirm that the AirPods Pro 2 Lightning will charge that way using a USB-C to Lightning cable that you may already have. So that's the USB-C stuff. What else is new? IPX54 protection, which means dust resistance, has been added. Let's not dwell on that too much. It's a nice step forward, but they aren't waterproof yet. And I look forward to the day I can safely shower with my wireless earbuds. Don't judge me. So is that it? Is that all that's new? No, there is more, but I'm gonna get to that in a moment. Before I do, I wanna talk about some of the new features that were released alongside the new USB-C AirPods Pro, but are not limited to the new AirPods Pro. These are available if you have the Lightning version as well, so long as you're running iOS 17 and your AirPods Pro have the latest firmware update. I'm talking about adaptive noise control, conversation awareness, and personalized volume. So to lead off, here's what these three features are supposed to do. Personalized volume is meant to adjust the volume of your music or podcast or whatever media it is that you're listening to or watching, and adjust the volume based on the noise level of your surroundings. It also learns your volume preferences over time and starts automatically delivering your media at what it learns is your preferred volume. So you don't have to go reaching for the volume control nearly as often. Eventually, I think you won't even know this is turned on, but if you were to turn it off after getting used to it, I bet you'd miss it. Conversation awareness is Apple's take on a feature we've seen attempted by other headphone makers before. Turning on conversation awareness will allow your AirPods to lower the volume of your media when you start talking. It won't engage just because somebody talks to you, but once you start speaking, not only will it lower the volume of whatever you're listening to, it'll focus on the voices in front of you and tune into those, kind of like an automated transparency mode, but a little more focused for conversations. Now, if this feature actually works, I'll be thrilled, because while I appreciate attempts at this feature by, say, Sony, for example, on its XM5 headphones and earbuds, what I found is that any sufficiently loud noise will trigger it, turning off noise canceling and piping surrounding audio in. This is not good if what sets off the feature is something like a lawnmower or a blower or some other extremely loud piece of gear. I very much do not want that noise piped in at me as if I'm having a conversation with it. So if Apple has this truly dialed in devices and nothing else sets it off, that would be transformative. Finally, there's adaptive noise control. This feature, which also uses machine learning and AI, blends noise canceling with transparency mode. The idea is to cancel out the noise you don't want, but let in the sounds that you do want to hear. So let's say I'm on a flight. This happens all the time, actually. You want the roar of the engines to be canceled out, but you do want to hear any announcements made by the pilot. Adaptive noise control supposedly makes this possible. I'm really curious to see if and how this works and whether it's something I'll use all the time or just in certain scenarios. But for now, to test these out, I think we should take a walk. I'm in desperate need of a mocha, so let's go get one and see what happens. Okay, that was fun, learned a lot, and actually I tested a lot more than you actually saw. So let's start with personalized volume. I can tell it's starting to learn. Shortly after starting to watch a video, the volume, which was set lower than I usually have it, was raised automatically, probably using the limited info it gathered since I turned on the feature. It matched the volume level at which I had been listening to music earlier. I tend to listen to videos at a slightly lower volume, so I'm interested to see if the system can detect the media source and type and alter it accordingly. But I think I'll need to use this for more than a couple of days before I'll actually know. So I'll pin a comment in a week or so and let you know. So consider saving this video and coming back again later. As for conversation awareness, well, I haven't gotten to my blower yet, but I did use this very loud air hood fan, and I put my face right up next to it, and conversation awareness did not kick in. It also didn't kick in when someone really close to me started talking, and it didn't kick in when a bus rolled by outside. So, I mean, the trigger behavior is way, way better than any other version of this feature I've experienced. That part I love. The moment I speak, transparency mode kicks in and I can hear myself, so I'm not speaking unnecessarily loudly, and I can clearly hear who I'm talking to. But one thing that needs some improving, if you don't talk for more than like 10 or 15 seconds, then the music starts creeping back in. It doesn't seem to register the other side of the conversation. So I mean, you're sitting there paying attention and talking to your people, and then music gradually ramps up and drowns them out, and it's kind of like a movie. Worst part is you have to interrupt them by speaking just so that you can hear them again. Let's fix that. As for adaptive noise control, it doesn't work exactly as I had imagined it, but to be honest, how I had imagined it might work would probably be super annoying. Of course, I can only say that having experienced how Apple has envisioned it, and I think Apple got this one right. It really is a hybrid of noise canceling and transparency mode. Like, the noise canceling is pretty light, just walking around and on the street. If I don't have music playing, I can hear cars going by and other street noises. But as soon as there was a droning sound, that got knocked down significantly. That air hood fan and the microwave were both knocked down in volume by, I'm gonna say, about 50%. That's as opposed to the 90% or so that you would get from full-on noise canceling. But as the AirPods Pro 2 were quieting down the fan, I was still able to hear Zeke speaking to me. And when I spoke to Zeke, that conversation happened normally, and then eventually the noise canceling would go up just a little bit. Now, the noise canceling doesn't act as quickly in adaptive noise control mode as it does in full noise canceling mode. It takes a couple of seconds for it to calm this fan noise down. It's not snail's pace slow, but it does sound like someone is just turning the volume down on the fan noise generator. Again, I'm curious to see how this feature evolves over time and how I like implementing it into my daily use of the AirPods Pro 2. I do think that adaptive noise control is really best for folks who wear their AirPods Pro all the time and don't really ever want to take them out. That's not me, but I can still see myself using it selectively, and overall, I think this was a smart development from Apple. One thing is certain, I can't think of another brand of earbuds or full-size headphones that can do what the AirPods Pro 2 can do with these new iOS 17 enabled features. Other brands have transparency or pass-through modes, they have dialogue detection, some of them have adjustable noise canceling levels. Sony does. Sony has all three of them, but none of them are executed nearly as well as Apple is executing them here, so I've got to give all three a pretty enthusiastic thumbs up. As a reminder, those three features work with your existing AirPods Pro and the new AirPods Pro with USB-C, but I did say there was more that's new about the AirPods Pro with USB-C that I'd like to talk about later, so let's do that now. Some of this is shrouded in mystery. Some of it is just flying under the radar. So Apple has said that it has redesigned the acoustic architecture inside these new AirPods Pro. The H2 chip is still in there, and Apple won't get super specific about it, but it seems like it is a combination of hardware, software, and programming changes that all come together in the stack. But what does that mean for you? Well, it doesn't mean dramatically different sound quality for day-to-day use yet. As I listen to Apple Music using spatial audio and standard stereo, I don't perceive any super notable differences in fidelity, whether I've got ANC on full bore, turned off, or using adaptive noise control. However, we do know that the new AirPods Pro 2 with USB-C can do uncompressed, lossless audio wirelessly. We know this because it is touted as a feature that will work, for now, only with the forthcoming Apple Vision Pro headset. Now, I've learned a little more about this, but some stuff remains a secret. What I can tell you is that it is not Bluetooth, and there is no wireless audio codec involved. It's not FLAC or aptX or anything like that. It is raw, uncompressed, lossless audio at up to 20 bits. What's the technology allowing that, though? Well, we can only guess. Apple's not saying. I would say it's something akin to ultra wideband, but Apple would not say that because Apple made this end-to-end, so it is not what we know of as UWB. We know that the new case is not involved here. That's something else we know. This is a communication protocol, again, for now, just between the new AirPods Pro's H2 chip and the H2 chip in the new Apple Vision Pro. We do not know what the wireless range might be, but usually when you go up to higher bit rates, the range drops. So I would imagine it would be shorter than Bluetooth. Now, 20-bit may sound like an odd number. We're used to hearing about 16-bit or 24-bit, but in Apple's world, 24-bit merges into high-res uncompressed lossless audio, and this isn't quite that. But it can be higher than CD quality, which is 16-bit. I know it's weird to bring CDs into the conversation because it's so far away technologically, but that's a common 16-bit reference point. Now, before you go poo-pooing uncompressed lossless wireless audio, this is a big deal, in my opinion. Remember I mentioned my daughter earlier? I brought her up because not only did she have a good time checking out these new Apple products before anyone else she knows, and yes, I made her sign a strict embargo, but she and I ended up having a conversation about how much she hates Spotify now because even at its best settings, it sounds flat to her compared to Apple Music lossless. That's my girl. I'm so proud. But yeah, it is possible to hear a difference. I think it's pretty obvious. For others, it may be more subtle, but it is 100% there. And frankly, I've ditched Spotify almost entirely in favor of Apple Music. It's been a bear trying to move my playlist, but I digress. Perhaps this uncompressed lossless audio is relegated to the pairing of these new AirPods Pro USB-C and an Apple Vision Pro for now, but it won't be like that forever. The next natural progression of this wireless audio technology is for it to move beyond the confines of the Vision Pro and into the Mac, the iPhone, and the iPad. It can be done. Apple could do that right now. But knowing Apple, I think it's gonna wait a bit. It's gonna see how things go with the Vision Pro, which provides a small testbed of enthusiasts, and it is gonna work on how to make it the best possible experience for iPhone, iPad, and Mac users. So it could be a while, but this is real technology, and it's around right now. That's what's most exciting to me about these new AirPods Pro USB-C. They can do a lot now, but it looks like they will be able to do even more in the near future, and I'm here for it. This could be big. Now, hopefully at this point you have a feel for whether you really need the new AirPods Pro 2 with USB-C now, or if you'll be good with your AirPods Pro 2 Lightning for a little while. It's nice to have a choice for now. Before you know it, only the USB-C version is going to be around anyway. I'd say if you want the latest and greatest, the IPX54 and that USB-C, well, here they are. But if all you wanted to do was be able to charge your AirPods with your iPhone 15 and enjoy some of the new audio processing features, well, you could do that with what you've got, and maybe don't feel so pressed to spend on the upgrade. Thanks as always for watching, everyone. What do you think? I need your feedback in the comments section, please. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that bell. I'll see you on the next one, and until then, here's 2 other videos I think you might like.